Great football, great content. Shane, Jack, thanks for joining me. Man, that was crazy.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it was. It was awesome though. It was awesome. Can't wait to dive into a few of the games, but yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, first game that we saw was the Texans Browns.
yep.
Um, yeah, let's just dive into that one first.
I
Yeah, let's
loved
talk
it.
about. Go ahead.
I loved that game. I'm a big believer in the Texans. I have been for most of the season. And I don't understand why people thought they were gonna win or the Browns were gonna win. Um, I mean, Joe Flacco, he's been playing great, yes, and they did steamroll the Texans earlier in the season, but that was without C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins. And I mean, Nico Collins went absolutely bonkers. I mean, not as crazy as he did the end of the season, but 96 yards and a touchdown, I believe. So it's really
Yeah,
good
crazy
on
enough.
this Browns defense, especially.
Yeah,
Um, I just the two back-to-back pick sixes though blew my mind.
I mean that's
I
losing the game. You lose the game.
oh
I mean,
yeah, 100%.
the score looks way worse. I mean, obviously, I think the Texans won that game handily, but it was like the Browns' offense without those two pick sixes. I mean, who knows? I mean, obviously, it's hindsight's 2020. Like, oh, what happens with the pick sixes? But that's killers. I mean, two pick sixes in two, like what, 3 plays, 4 plays?
I think it was four. Yeah,
I mean, at the very
is
least, you're looking at a 14-point swing there. You don't throw two pick sixes. Even if you score 0 points on both those drives, at least you play the field position game a little bit. So I mean, that was insane. I mean, you watch that and you just put your hands up and you're like, oh, well, that'll do it. Like you don't really see
yeah.
that. So
You're looking at a 31-14 game instead of a 45-14 game. Like
yeah,
that's once that second pick six
right,
happened, I kind of just was like, all right, this game's cut and dry, done.
yeah,
There's no the moral hit that you have to take after that is just is killer enough.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know what the Browns are gonna do because I mean, hopefully Deshaun Watson can play similar to how Joe Flacco played this season. I don't know if they're gonna there's gonna be end up being a QB controversy with a $240 million quarterback. They're just not in a very good spot right now.
Well, I think
Do
it's
Yeah.
they
just
think about keeping Joe Flacco?
What?
Do they think about keeping Joe Flacco?
That's what I'm saying. Like, do
I
they?
think about keeping him. I mean, it can't hurt to have him on the roster.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if Flacco will want to play again if he's not like if they don't hand the keys to Flacco. I don't know if he's going to want to bother sitting on the bench. I don't know if he's really at that point in his career where he's looking to be a backup, helping a guy in front of him. I don't know if that's
Mhm.
really his. I mean, for me, like, I mean, if I was whatever he is, 38, just led the Browns to a playoff game. I don't know if I'd want to be like, oh yeah, I'll come back and watch Deshaun Watson. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I personally
Plus,
don't want to deal with that, but
you've still got DTR. I mean, he's not bad.
he
I don't
he,
think he was that bad.
he,
I don't think he was.
he looked
He
he
was
looked
okay.
he looked like a college player. I mean, that's not to say
Yeah.
he can't progress and be a guy that can contribute, but from what he showed this year, you cannot be like, oh yeah, we're straight if Watson goes down and we have to play DTR the whole year because they were far from it when he played. I know Baltimore's a great defense, but in that game he looked absolutely clueless. And again, I know the Baltimore's a great defense. He's a rookie; he wasn't expecting to play, but I mean, there's been guys in similar situations that have performed much better. So
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Well, then the second game that we saw was the Chiefs Dolphins, kind of with the way that I would have expected it. The Chiefs running away with the game. Um, Kind of sucks for the Dolphins, but hey, they got a bright future ahead.
Yeah. I one thing I was kind of surprised at how much that both teams threw the ball. I was expecting a lot more running than we got, and I think that kind of actually for once this season helped the Chiefs for some reason. I mean, they looked comfortable still, and the Dolphins looked like they weren't. And I think that, I mean, everyone kind of pretty much knew that was going to be the case coming in, so I wasn't entirely surprised, I guess.
yeah, I don't know. I just feel like all that really leaves me with post game is what do you do with Tua? Because Tua personally, for me, did not wow me this year at any point. I don't care about the 70-point game. I mean, I care about it. Obviously, it's impressive. You have to be at least there's a certain threshold of quarterback that can't put up a 70-point game. Obviously, you have to be able to put the ball where it needs to go. But a lot of his big plays, a lot of his like league-leading passing stats that people like to talk about. I mean, dude, like you have Tyreek Hill running 50 yards after the catch. You got guys wide open. You have one of the best offensive minds in football calling your plays. And then as soon as it comes down to the nitty-gritty where you have to be, where you have that opportunity to take a step up into the elite quarterback tier, he always drops the ball every time. They can't beat playoff teams. Then they make the playoffs and get slapped. And like Shane said, they're forced to throw the ball a lot. And for once, it helped the Chiefs, which is insane. But Tua did not look. I don't care about the weather. Everybody's playing in the weather. Does it suck? Yes. And does it make passing harder? Yes. And does Mahomes have an absolute hose compared to Tua's marginal arm? Yeah, but still, I mean, he looks terrified of pressure. He looks completely flustered as soon as he gets somebody in his face. He goes directly to his first read every time the pocket collapses. He has no real out of structure playmaking ability. I just don't know if with such a talented offense and such a young, bright-minded head coach, how you go into next year after what Tua did in the biggest games he played this year and say, oh yeah, we're good. I just personally don't see it. I don't know what they do. I don't know if they keep him, give him another chance, if they tag him, if they trade him. I don't know what the plan is. But for me, it would leave me with a whole lot of questions if I'm a part of that organization.
Yeah, the weather can't be used as an excuse anywhere in the NFL in the playoffs this weekend. I mean, It's been freezing temperatures from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast. So definitely can't be used as an excuse. But yesterday on Saturday, we saw the Packers and the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Oh my. If you want to go back and take a look at my Twitter, I was having the time of my life yesterday during that game. As the great Stephen A. Smith says, anything that can go wrong will go wrong when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. Oh my. That game was not as close as the score looks. You got 16 garbage time points. It was really 41 to 14 or 16. I mean, or 48 to 16. I mean, I think it's I think it's safe to say there's a good chance we'd be saying goodbye to Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
We should be saying goodbye to Mike McCarthy at least.
100%.
And you got Dak on his last year of the deal. I don't think they should extend him. I think that this is I think what the Cowboys need to do is they need to draft a quarterback, have him sit behind Dak for this year, and then say goodbye and go with their new guy. Because Dak has proven time and time again every season he is a garbage time regular season quarterback. Can't do it when it really, really matters. You have the slide at the end of the game a couple years ago. Then you just have him fumbling the bag against the Niners last year, and then you have this abysmal performance yesterday. I mean, I don't. It made me laugh all day. I was just laughing.
Well, no, to your point, McCarthy does have to be gone, and Dakota, I'll let you go. But I completely agree with that. I mean, not only does your offense that you're calling look absolutely abysmal until the last 6 minutes of the game where it's lost, but your defense that's been impeccable all year for the past couple of years. You've had a top tier defense, and all of a sudden you play. And again, I'll give credit. I'll give Jordan Love his flowers as a Bears fan. I personally don't really want to see him be great because it means we're going to be worse. But great. He's sharp. He's accurate. He played a great game. But your defense collapsed again. I mean, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're calling the defensive plays. You're the head coach. Why all of a sudden when you're playing a first year starting quarterback with a bunch of rookie contract receivers, can you not guard anybody? Why can't you get I just don't understand where they went wrong. And Dakota, I'll let you go because I know you were about to say something, but I just had to sing my praises for Shane's take that McCarthy needs to be gone.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to a Colin Cowherd for this, but there has never been a turnaround quite like the season that Jordan Love has had. I mean, he was probably one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL around week 8, and he just led the Green Bay Packers to a playoff win over the Dallas Cowboys. 21 touchdowns, 1 pick in the last 9 games, completing 71% of his throws. Athleticism, confidence, accuracy, he has it right now.
He looked like a 10-year vet out there, calling reading blitzes and calling protection. And
oh, you muted yourself, I think.
Shane, you muted yourself.
dang, I was gonna say he looked like a 10-year vet out there, calling audibles, calling protection, reading quick decisions. He looked like a 10-year vet. It was crazy.
No, Jordan Love is everything you'd pray that Tua did. He gets he gets a elite guy like Parsons in his face, and he steps back and puts the ball where it needs to be. He doesn't get flustered. Mm-hmm. He doesn't just huck the ball up and hope for the best and hope that his $30 million receivers want to play for him. And like I said, my friends all say I hate Jordan Love. I don't hate Jordan Love. Jordan Love is an incredible player, and he does nothing but elevate the players around him, and he's done it for the whole back half of the year, like Dakota said. And as much as it pains me to say, he's a great quarterback. And I think, Dakota just mentioned the stats. I think if the MVP was based on weeks 7 to 18, he'd be the MVP. He's been incredible. They had a couple bumps in the road, but I think a lot of that was defensively. You look at games like the Buccaneers game, you look at games like the Panthers game where they won, but they looked horrible. I mean, but I don't think much of that is a testament to Jordan Love and the way he's elevated his own game and the team's game.
Then we had probably the best game of the weekend. That was the Detroit Lions and the LA Rams.
Man, shout out to the Lions, man. That's cool for that city. They deserve it. They've been needing that for a while. I know you're probably also not happy about that.
I'm less upset about that one because they've been so awful for so long that I can live with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I saw a thing that this is the first time anyone has ever been able to text someone about the Lions winning a playoff game. It's been 30 years since that's happened, and it was a great game. They did, I will say, they did stall out in the second half, which kind of worries me a little bit going into next week against the Niners. I believe they play the Niners.
They have Tampa Bay.
They got Tampa Bay. Even against Tampa Bay, I'm kind of worried they stalled out in that second half. 21 of their 24 points were in the first half. So, I mean, they got to kind of make second half adjustments a little better. But overall, they played well. The defense held their own. I don't know what this means for the Rams. I know McVay was thinking about retiring last season, and Aaron Donald the same. Is this Stafford's last run because he's getting old and can't stay healthy very easily? I mean, where do you go from here?
See, I don't think that Sean McVay is going to consider retirement again.
I think he did mention he was coming back. I think he said something about that.
Oh, did he? I didn't pay too much attention after the game, so
he said something that he was going to be back for 2024.
Oh, good for them. They need him.
But I'll go ahead, Dakota.
Yeah, I was just going to say he's 37 years old. He's the youngest or second youngest quarterback in the NFL, or excuse me, coach in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
With the Patriots hiring
Gerard Mayo.
Yeah, Mayo. That's
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the Rams, because of this season, have put themselves in a much better spot future-wise. I think, and I wrote about this when I was writing about some of like the more underrated players from this year when I mentioned Stafford, is that coming into the year, I don't think it's horrible to say that the Rams were almost unanimously considered a bottom 6 team, 17. I mean, they were not in a good spot, and they're still not. I still don't think they have an amazing roster. Let me put that out there. I think they played very, very well. But top to bottom, it's not like they had this loaded, star-studded roster. I mean, they actually obviously have Kupp, Nakua, but like Nakua was a 5th-round rookie that ended up being really good. Kyron Williams exploded this year. They have Kobe Turner in the interior who balled out. Like, they don't have this crazy, like, star-studded, roster like they had when they made the Super Bowl. However, I think they've become a much more attractive place to play. They have their picks. They're starting to get their picks back now. They're kind of past that wave of when they got rid of all their first round picks. I think once you get off, I think Stafford's good. I think he will retire, if not this offseason, after next year. I think you get off that money. You get off the Aaron Donald money. I think you all of a sudden you have some cap room to play with for the first time in God knows how long. You have some attractive young pieces. You still have a really young, offensive-minded coach. I think if they get a good quarterback around that and just keep building through the draft, I think they'll be in a really good spot. I think they just have to navigate it well. They just have to make sure not to feel like they're in a Super Bowl window and blow it up again and get rid of all their future assets. But I think they're in a better spot now because of the emergence of guys like Puka and Williams and Turner and I'm forgetting their edge rusher's name. He was second in the league in rookie sacks. I don't know why, from Tennessee. I can't remember his name. Anyways,
Yeah.
But like you have guys like that were like third round, fourth round, fifth round players that can play that way. You all of a sudden have a core of players that you didn't expect to have. So I think they could still be competitive next year, whether Stafford's there or not, depending on their quarterback. But yeah, I think you'd call this season a relative success for the Rams.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I think the line on their win total was 5.5.
I'd be least upset if I were them.
Yeah, 100%.
I think
100%.
I'd be the least disappointed with their loss. Personally,
I saw something earlier today. It stated that everybody thought that they were going to be in a rebuild this year.
Yeah,
and they quickly redefined what a rebuild is.
Yeah,
but early Monday, we saw the Bills and the Steelers. I think this game went about how everybody predicted it was going to go with the Bills.
I mean, once I saw TJ Watt was out, I was like, it's pretty much that's game over because that's their best player on both sides of the ball. So if you can't play with your best player, you don't have a very good chance, especially in the playoffs.
And with Mason Rudolph as quarterback, not that he played you can hang the reason they lost on him, but I will say I don't care if he's playing for the 49ers. I'm not super confident going to a game with Mason Rudolph playing quarterback.
Yeah, no, me neither. I do also want to give flowers to to Boise State alum Khalil Shakir,
play was
my boy.
Incredible.
That was crazy. I didn't get to watch the game. I saw that clip online afterwards. That was awesome. So shout out Boise State.
Yeah, he dodges a Minka Fitzpatrick tackle, like breaks like an arm tackle from Cam Hayward coming from defensive line, and then snaps. I can't remember what number it was. I can't remember who it was, but he snapped his ankles on the way to end zone. I was like, oh my God. Like, it's like he's got more juice than I realized. I kind of noticed in some of the games this year where it's like he gets the ball sparingly and gets involved, not as much as he'd probably like to. But when he gets the ball, he's got some get up and go. I think he's a good slot option moving forward. I think you're happy with that.
Do you think he could be a decent number 2 in Buffalo?
I think he could be the number 2 option in the slot. I don't think he could play on the outside. Personally, I think
just a number 2 option though as receiver though. 100%. I agree.
He's like a more athletic Hunter Renfrow in a way. He's like a more juiced Hunter Renfrow. He's a sharp route runner, but he's explosive after the catch. He seems to be smart. His ball security seems good. I mean, that's really what you want in your slot guys. So I mean, I don't see why not.
I love him.
So here's the question: what do the Steelers do moving forward?
They got to get a quarterback.
Do they need a coach too?
They need a coach too.
I don't think they should go with Tomlin, but I don't know if Tomlin will be there. I think
on his press conference when they asked him about next season.
I mean, I think if he does right now, as it stands right now, he's still the coach, so their first need is quarterback. But if he decides to leave or he gets fired, whatever, I think that you got to get a coach, obviously. But I think the number one personnel need is a quarterback, hands down.
Yeah, 100%. And I think go ahead, Dakota.
No, I was just saying 100% agreeing with Shane.
Oh yeah, I mean, people will be like, oh, well, Kenny Pickett, he didn't get really to play with the new OC. Like, dude, I mean.
You don't need to see that. You don't want to see that.
I've heard this more than anything in the past couple weeks. There is nothing more important than to building a good roster than having a good rookie quarterback on a rookie deal or like a good quarterback on a rookie contract. There's nothing more valuable in probably all of sports contractual wise than resetting the quarterback clock because you save so much money. And Kenny Pickett in 2 years has shown you nothing. Has he been god awful? No. He hasn't been the worst quarterback in the NFL, but he has shown you literally not one thing that indicates that he has the capability of being a top 10 quarterback. And then what's the point? What are you playing for?
No.
I mean, how many teams that just won in the playoffs don't have a top 10 quarterback? I mean, you could say Baker, maybe not. This year, he's undoubtedly played like a top 10 quarterback, though. You could say maybe Brock Purdy in a different system, but he's not in a different system. So for me, he's a top 10 quarterback until he has a reason to not be. So I just personally don't agree with the fact of rolling into a season with a guy you don't think is a difference maker at the most important position. And I don't know if that's through the draft. I could kind of see them being a team that maybe is interested in a guy like Kirk Cousins because they have solid weapons. Their O-line's improving. I think it depends on what they do with their head coach, but they kind of have an older roster defensively. And I honestly think they're like good enough to, I mean, they made the playoffs, but I think they're good enough to, like, with an improved offense to compete a little bit. Maybe not for a Super Bowl, but I think if you put Kirk Cousins on the team that I just watched lose tonight, I think you have a much different game. I'm not saying they win, but I think they take Buffalo to the limit in an away game. So, and then you have TJ healthy. I think they're a roster that could compete in the AFC just because of how well they're coached, how hard they play defensively, and how electric they can be on offense when it happens. I mean, you only see it a few times every couple weeks, but when you have George Pickens rolling, when you have Deontay Johnson seemingly wanting to play football, when you have Najee Harris running hard, all of a sudden you have a pretty good offense. So I think it'd be really interesting. I'd be kind of surprised if they draft a guy again, but just because they whiffed on Rudolph, whiffed on Pickett, in my opinion. So, and I think the roster is not in a great spot to keep developing rookie quarterbacks, but we'll see.
In the last game of Super Wildcard Weekend, we had the Eagles and the Buccaneers. And I just want to say, wow, what a turd the Eagles just dropped.
Yeah.
What do you mean? They've been dropping it the last half of the season.
Yeah, they've been awful.
True, they went 10-1 and then finished 11-6. Like, and that were a first round exit. I mean, okay. So here, Nick Sirianni, he did great last season, but I think a lot of it was due to his coordinators, because you look at this season and they couldn't stop a nosebleed and they couldn't get a first down. It felt like, and you see, I mean, McVay, Shanahan, Reed, Belichick, they lose coordinators year in and year out, and they're still fine. And all of a sudden, when Nick Sirianni loses his coordinators, it's like jump ship. That's not a sustainable system, I feel like, and especially with fans that are as very dedicated as critical and dedicated as the Eagles fan base. I think they're going to demand change, and I don't think it should come in the form of Jalen Hurts being moved, because Jalen Hurts is good enough, I believe. Yeah, that's true. I think you gotta. Yeah, he is. I think you gotta consider moving off Sirianni after this. Just to appease the fans. I mean,
what's the AJ Brown future looking like? Because I don't know if his problems are rooted in Sirianni. I don't know why he's complaining, we'll say, over and over again and deleting stuff on Instagram. I don't know what his deal is. I personally hate that shit. But like, especially in the middle of a play, when you're trying to make a playoff run, even though he didn't play. So I don't know if, like, say they do get rid of Sirianni, if that will cure a lot of his whatever's going on, or if he's starting to butt heads with Jalen Hurts, or I don't know what his deal is. But it'll be interesting to see that if they do get rid of Sirianni and he's not the problem, what do you do with that? Because he's an incredible player, especially, I mean, the first half of this year he was incredible. He kind of took a downturn as the Eagles as a whole took a downturn. But I mean, he's still a top 10 receiver for sure. But if he's going to be that way, you know what I mean? And he, like, there was reports that he wasn't practicing when he could, or that, and then he's saying this like suggestive stuff in the media. It's like, I'm just curious as to how and what the root is of those problems and how they address it, because I don't know. Like you said, the Eagles fans are very critical. I don't know how long they're going to deal with that. So it'll be interesting to see because they'd get a big return for him if they traded him. So it'd be interesting to see how they move forward with that situation.
Watch him end up on the Niners for like a third and a fifth round pick or something.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that is going to be on everyone's monitor for this offseason is AJ Brown and what happens there.
100%.
For sure. All right, we're looking forward to next weekend, the divisional round. We've got the Texans, Ravens, Packers, 49ers, Buccaneers, Lions, and the Chiefs, Bills.
We doing some predictions?
Yeah, let's make some predictions. Jack, you go first.
Okay, we'll go game by game. So you started with Ravens, Texans.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I think the Ravens are a little too much for the Texans. I think the Texans have a great team, though it could be competitive for the years to come because but I think they have a very young team. I don't know if they can handle what a team like Baltimore has for them. I think they'll fight. I'd say Baltimore wins by maybe 10.
Dakota?
Yeah, I'm saying the Ravens as well. I just think that they're going to be too much for the Texans. I mean, Look, the Texans are young. Texans are good. They got a great future ahead, but I think the magical season is going to come to an end this next week.
Yeah, I think the craziest stat for the Ravens that I've seen this season is the Lamar is 18. Is it 18 or 19 now? And 1 against NFC teams.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's ridiculous, and so that's the one thing that makes it that just blows my mind. And coming off that, I will say, I mean, bad news for the Ravens is the Texans aren't in the NFC.
Yeah.
I told you guys at the beginning of this video, I'm a big believer in the Texans. I think they can do it. I think they can do it. I'm gonna stick up. I'm gonna stick up for them, and I'm gonna go with the underdog in this one. I think the Texans can pull off the upset. I think they are equipped well enough. They've got the momentum coming off of that huge win. I think they could do it.
The other Ravens stat that I saw that I want to throw out there really quickly is that they won the most games against teams 500 or above in one single season this year. They won 10 games against teams 500 or above this year.
Not surprising. The Ravens are a great team. I think the Texans can. I think the Texans can sneak in and
they get hot. They start lighting you up. Then
yeah,
I don't know how the Ravens respond, but we'll see. What was the next one? What we got second, Dakota?
Packers Niners.
You want me to go first again?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think very similarly to the Ravens Texans game. I think the Packers will be very competitive for the years to come. They have a bunch of really good players on offense on rookie deals. I think they have a talented defense that has underperformed for the most of the year. I think a lot of Packers fans would tell you because of Joe Barry, their defensive coordinator. I think the Niners are too much. I think the Niners are probably the best team in the NFL. Personally, I don't think they'll struggle getting pressure on Jordan Love, and I think Love is tough, and I think Love is resilient. I don't think he's scared, but you can't. It doesn't matter if you're scared or not when your back's on the ground. So, and I don't know if their defense is keeping up with what the Niners have on offense. I'll take the Niners by 2 possessions. I think they're just too much.
I mean, there's that crazy stat for the Niners where I'm just kidding. I got the Niners in this one. I don't see a situation where the Packers are going to be able to go into San Fran this time. I know they just went into Dallas and did it, but I think San Fran is a whole nother beast. Unless that Niners defense comes out Charmin ultra soft and just does not want to play. I don't see a world where the Packers can do it. It's Jordan Love's going to be great. The Packers are going to be great in the future. I just think they're just not going to be able to get it done this week.
What do you got, Dakota?
Yeah, shout out to my brother, but no, I'm going the Niners.
Yeah, they're a little too dominant, I think.
Yeah, and then we got Bucks Lions on Sunday.
That's an interesting one. I think this is the first one out of obviously that I could honestly see going both ways. I think if the Lions defense plays the way they did against the Rams, I think they'll be in trouble. I think the Buccaneers have a little bit more verticality in their offense. I mean, they had 2 big plays just watching tonight that Mike Evans, one big for a touchdown, one for another 50-yard gain that he drops. And I don't know if Mike Evans is dropping 2 money balls next week if given the opportunity.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, they stalled out in the second half. I think the Bucs defense hasn't been great all year, but they're starting to roll a little bit. They gave the Panthers suck, but 0 points against an NFL team is nothing to sneeze at. And again, the Eagles have been on a downturn, but they slapped them around and gave up 6 points. So I think I'm going to go with what is kind of the upset, and I'm going to go with the Bucs by maybe 3.
This one I'm kind of undecided on right now. I'm looking at it right now. The line is Detroit -6, which I think is absurd. I would take the Buccaneers +6 in that situation. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think it'll be a good game. Right now, I'm just gonna stick with the momentum from the home field team, the emotion, the high they're gonna be riding. I think right now I'm gonna go with the Lions to squeak out a close victory.
You can definitely see it.
I'm taking the Lions.
That's all you got.
That's it. All right, moving on.
Basically, based off of what happened this year between the two teams. I mean, Detroit came away with a 26 victory to push their record to 5-1 in Week 6. I mean, you look at what these teams did against each other. I mean,
for sure.
The Lions were the clear winner here.
Yeah,
which I think is why that line is at -6 for the Lions. So, I mean, I think the Lions are going to continue their magical run, unlike the Texans.
Fair enough.
And then the final game is Bills-Chiefs on Sunday night.
A rematch of last year in the conference championship.
I think the Bills finally get him, man. This is the first time Mahomes is going on the road in his playoff career. Obviously, they've played on neutral sites, but going on the road to the team he's playing against.
Yeah.
I just think I think that Buffalo's run game has been incredible. The back since the Joe Brady elevation, Joe Brady needs a lot of credit. And Josh Allen has elevated his play. James Cook has been incredible. Their defense has been good.
Shout out to Josh Allen for that 52-yard run.
Just running over it.
I mean, it looked like he did an illegal fake slide there, but
the Kenny Pickett slide.
Yeah.
Special. I think Bills finally get him, man. I think a lot of those. I think the Chiefs are going to be forced to pass. I think the Buffalo is if they can run the ball consistently and just keep chugging along, I think they're going to force Kansas City to put up points. And I'm not, for the first time in 5-6 years, I am not confident in Kansas City having to put up points to win the game. I think a lot of those same struggles you saw this year with their receivers, I think those are going to continue. I don't know if it's just the drops, but I think they're going to struggle, and I think this is going to be very eye-opening and make it even more painfully obvious what the Chiefs need to do in the offseason. I'll take the Bills by 7.
Yeah, look, we've seen Stephon Diggs standing out, watching the Chiefs celebrate for 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
This is the year that the Bills will do it. Yep. They have the motivation, they have the drive, and they're playing their best ball right now.
Yeah.
I think that this game will boil down to one simple thing. Will Kadarius Toney show up? And thankfully for the Bills, I do not think he will.
He didn't even play this past week, so that could help the Chiefs. If Kadarius Toney doesn't play,
sorry. Will Kadarius Toney play? And thankfully for the Bills, I think he will. I think he will play, and I just playing. I no hate to him at all. He's been getting enough this season. I'm just poking fun. I really do. I'm with you guys though. I think this is the time. I think everyone in the league smells blood, and this is the Chiefs' chance to pounce, or the Bills' chance to pounce. And I think they get it done, especially at home. That Bills Mafia is going to go nuts. They are going to be loud. It's going to be very hostile conditions. Not like hostile, but hostile conditions for Mahomes. Very uncharted territory as well for him.
Yeah.
They just don't have the team, man. They don't have the roster to do it anymore. And the Bills defense is better than the Dolphins. So
yeah, for sure.
I'm taking Bills as well. I'll say by 7 as well. I think that's a good number. I think the line right now is Buffalo by 3. So
Okay. I take them to cover.
yeah, me too.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us here at Fantom Sports. We got Jack Westphal, Shane Davis, myself, Dacota Haynes. We'll be back next week after the divisional round.